Here, 2024 win total will be set at 10.5 or 11 ? Or 10 3/4 maybe.
They'll set it at a half just to keep
They
the
should.
action. 11.5 is bold to set it there, but with that non-conference schedule, you almost have to. 10.5 seems like, wouldn't more people take the over at 10.5 and take the under, whereas the 11.5 is kind of more of a legitimate question, and to expect anybody to win 12 games in a regular season is a little bit excessive. But like I said, with that non-conference schedule and what the people that Ohio State has bringing back and the momentum they have in terms of how great people think they're going to be, it almost seems like you get more action for yourself. Vegas would do better going with 11.5 than 10.5 because everybody going to be banging the over on 10.5.
Yeah, I agree with Tony's point, but I don't know if I can accept it because, well, I'm trying to be cordial. That's a big ask. I mean, 11.5 is a big ask for anybody, especially a team that is breaking in a new old quarterback and showed some definite deficiencies on its offensive line. And on paper, we can talk about how all these things have been fixed or addressed or are in the process of being addressed. But with road trips to Eugene and to State College, I mean, if Ohio State just splits those, I mean, they're at, I mean, their cap is 11 right there. And that doesn't even put the game at the end of the season against Michigan on the table. And of course, you can make the argument, well, Ohio State's dropped 3 of them. And you can make the other argument of, on paper, this, should be a walkover for Ohio State. And of course, our 2 or 3 Michigan people in there are going to lose their, what about that? I think that if you're trying to, I think that the true line should be 10.5. But Tony is probably right in terms of everybody is going to bang the over on that one. And it's one that, Vegas never truly takes a bath, but it could be one that they end up regretting if they set it too low.
I do think it'll be 10.5 though.
I'm looking at the national championship odds, and right now it's Georgia plus 300, Ohio State plus 500. So they're not far. They're the number 2 favorite right now, at least in terms of that. I was looking for an over-under if anything was posted, but don't see anything on that just yet. So, maybe sooner rather than later we'll get that, but I don't know.
Ohio State will be favored in 11 games at least, and we'll see what happens with that Oregon game. But 11.5 is just a lot.
It is. I mean, we every year, even 8 weeks into the season, well, there's going to be like 30 undefeated teams at the end of the year. Well, mathematically, there can't be. And, and we just see people drop dumb games. Ohio State doesn't generally drop the dumb game. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 of the years against Michigan, we could sit there and say it was kind of dumb of them to lose. But we haven't had the Iowa. We haven't had the Purdue or whatever. I think a lot of people are going to say, well, Ohio State had no business losing that Missouri game. And on, looking from the top down, yeah, I guess if you're just looking at the names on the front of the jerseys and the helmets, you can say that. But you got to remember just kind of the position where Ohio State was in. But we're going to, a lot of years we have 3, 2, none, undefeated teams. So that's you're trying to thread a small eye of a very small needle with this one.
Well, looking at the win totals from this past year, preseason win totals, Georgia was 11.5, and Ohio State and Michigan were both 10.5, and then you had Alabama, USC, Clemson, all 10. But yeah, there was just one 11.5 last year, and that was Georgia. And I don't believe they made it. Did they make it? They did make it.
12-0. Well, can we expect that regardless of whether it's 10.5 or 11.5, that they're just going to adjust it by just waiting the money payout on either side, especially if it's 10.5, where you're not going to win too much if you take the over, they'll really compromise that, and it won't be even money on either side, whatever the minus 110 that you typically see on an even bet.
Yeah, they will certainly adjust it. That this is, the lines are set to try and get equal, equal-ish money on either side of it, and go from there. I mean, so yeah, I think that it will be something that adjusts, and I'll be interested to see when some of these early, futures bets really come out to be able to get in on, and if I can double up my money a couple more times, not to take this into basketball territory on betting against Ohio State, I'll have a lot of future bets to make in football.